Dating apps should no longer be your primary source of dates, relationships, sex, and so forth and so. In the ideal world, you should not be on dating apps. Definitely not on Tinder and Bumble, because they're essentially just the platform for prostitution. I think you all know what I'm talking about. However, being on dating apps that are a little bit more niche, like for example, I'm in Thailand, and here we have Thai Friendly. That is more of a local app that still works, and you can still, navigate yourself through, hookers and gold diggers and just idiots a lot of times, and still have some mild success. But it should not be your primary way to get women. Now, I know some of you have decided there's just fully give up, and it's a trend, right? Men going their own way, and I totally respect it. Some of us have decided to move out of the country of your origin and find a paradise of women and dating and relationships, in here in Southeast Asia or South America and so forth. But the reason why the dating apps went from like the best way to get into the relationship or to get laid to pretty much at best a side hustle. And every man has the same frustration, and including this gentleman right here. We're going to hear from him and kind of break down, because I feel like his short video, as short as it is just a little over a minute, we can spend some time talking about exactly what's happening with dating apps and what it is that you can do, to actually make them work for you. So let's start hearing from this gentleman, and we'll break it down, and we'll start from the beginning.
Ladies, ladies on dating apps, please give us a clue.
All right, so I can already break this down into two. First of all, begging is not really a good idea. It does not look good on a man. It is not a manly, masculine thing to do. But most importantly, why this is a bad reason to figure out how to use dating apps is you are asking women for what they want is the most ridiculous thing you can do. They will always lie to you, and not because they want to. Most likely because they lie to themselves first, and then just pass it on, right? When you ask a girl what they want, they usually say, "Well, I want a, nice guy who makes me laugh," right? But if you look at her ex-boyfriend or ex-boyfriends, you will find out that he's nothing but that, right? He's probably tattooed up dude who can barely keep a job, abuser and all of that stuff, right? So never listen to women what they have to say about what they want out of the men. However, women will never lie to you if you look at their actions and not their words, right? So what it is that they want, you have to determine by watching what it is they do and what they don't. Now, however, what you want to do if you want to be successful with women in any way, don't ask the women. Do not ask the women. Do not ask your pretty friends. Do not ask the hot girls. Do not ask the guys who are dating or screwing those women. You understand? Those guys will absolutely tell you the truth. Men tell each other the truth, no problem, right? Ask those men what it is that they are doing. And I can tell you what that they're doing. And I'll do that in a second, because honestly, it's not that hard.
Give us, man, a clue. What is it you want to hear from us? Tell me what to write.
Well, here's another mistake that he's making. And this is basically called simping, right? This is the new word that we had to create in the English language. Technically, a simp, right, stands for suckers idolizing mediocre pussy, right? Essentially, it is, I will give you whatever it is that you want so you can just talk to me or smile at me or kiss me or fuck me, right? So do not be a simp. Simping is literally the biggest epidemic that you guys are having over there in America and Europe, because not only women at the end of the day don't want simps long term, they'll take you because you'll buy them free dinners, bring them flowers, shower them with the new drug that they're addicted to, which is validation, and compliments. But at the end of the day, they don't want a guy who's just a simp and he'll just bend over in any shape a girl wants. They still want a manly man, and despite what they say and even do sometimes, it just doesn't last with the simps. And why would you want to be a simp, right? You should know what to say and what to write and what to do on your own. And like I said, you find it out by asking guys who are actually successful with it. I'm one of those guys who's successful with it, and I will tell you a few extra pointers. But number one, of course, I will tell you, get the fuck out of the country where the women are undateable, where you have to beg them to reply to your messages, even though you might be a decent looking guy with a pretty good job, who is a good man with no bad habits or kids and education and all of those things that used to matter. Get the fuck out of those countries. They don't look at you as a good man, and they don't know what a good man is anymore. So that would be my number one advice, because I got to tell you, this guy, he's not a bad looking guy, right? He looks like he's in shape, looks like he's actually a good man. He will do well here in Thailand, Southeast Asia, South America, but you have to go to the market where women actually still see value in you.
Tell me what text to send. Please, for the love of God.
Again, begging is bad. It's just not. It's not good at all. It is not. Before we continue, let me answer a quick message in the live chat. The Rock says, besides dating apps, Facebook also have this feature called Facebook Dating, which is essentially a dating app. It is quite popular here in Southeast Asia, specifically in Thailand, and it is free from what I understand. And a lot more people, including girls, use Facebook platform. What do you think about that feature in the platform? So yes, I mean, here I pretty much, that's what I use. I use Thai friendly and I use Facebook. However, Facebook dating. However, the results, people think, well, dating apps are dating apps reflect the reality. I'm sorry. For those of us, who do dating apps and in-person approaches and meeting through the friends and family, we can tell you that it is not the dating apps, it's the women. Now, the women who are, okay, in America, in Western countries, you just won't find women who are not on dating apps, right? And here it's much harder to find, but there are some women here who are not on dating apps or not on Instagram, or at least their Instagram accounts are private. They are the gems that you should be going after, right? Now, another thing, the dating apps here are kind of funny because there are way, way more, pretty single women, or just generally single women here in Thailand than the foreigner. So if a girl wants a foreigner, either specifically or just, then the numbers, the tables have turned, right? Like I said, if you guys even visit here and turn your apps on, you will see that you will have dozens and maybe a couple of hundred likes right away within a day, and then you will be having a really hard time keeping up with it. You will feel like you're a skinny blonde with big boobs and sitting in a Los Angeles coffee shop, right? The attention is going to be ridiculous. My apps that I use, some of them I can't get through all of the likes, actually. And I definitely cannot reply to all of them. Like, at first I was like, well, I've got to thank the girl for like making the first move. Essentially, I just, too much. I cannot. It would be a full-time job for me to reply to all of this. I'm an old, short, aging dude with a receding hairline, which I'm just fixing. In another few days, I'm going to get my second hair transplant surgery, which I know a little bit preemptive, but I like that. So here's the thing: use the dating apps. Like, get off the Tinder and Bumble, honestly. But use the dating apps. Just don't make it your only hope, and you have to use it in a certain way. To which we'll get to that in a second, because I do want to get to the rest of his video. So, but good point.
I need to know, because obviously I'm not doing it right. You can like someone and match someone, send a wee message saying, hello, how's things? Hope all's well. What's the crack? You don't even get a reply.
Yeah. So, and this is what I don't reply to a lot of women who try to reach out to me just because I can't. You have to understand, and this is what every man should do. This should be a requirement. If you guys want to date, especially on dating apps, you should do this. Free up your evening, fucking free up your evening. It doesn't even have to be that much time. get some pictures. You can AI generate them for free, or just find a bunch of pictures of just an average looking girl, not hot, not ugly, not fat, not skinny, just like an average looking girl. Just put two or three pictures, put something very general in the bio, looking for a good man to steal my heart, whatever. Don't put anything negative. I know a lot of women have negative bullshit in their ads, but just like I say, make a nice general ad, right? And like register a new account on Tinder, right? And just fucking wait. Just wait. Within minutes sometimes, but definitely within hours, you will have a ridiculous amount of dudes just absolutely trying to knock your doors off, right? And you will see that a message like he said, "Hey, how's it going?" Right? That's what he looks like he says to women when he starts the conversation. You will see how many like that another 100 of guys would wrote the same message, right? So originally your first message already has to be very different. You know, I a lot of times pick something in their profile and ask a question about that, and a lot of times in a way, kind of like, really, like kind of like challenge them, right? All of a sudden this is already a conversation starter, because I just started a conversation that I know they're interested in because it's in their profile. But if I'm going to say, how are you, then it's going to be another 100 guys who did that. Now here in Thailand, I can absolutely just say hi, how are you, especially to a girl who liked me first, right? That's the luxury we have here. That's why I'm saying you guys should come here. That's why I have the Million Man Project right here, the website, the millionmanproject.com, where you can learn how to get the fuck out of there and come here, so you don't even have to think about it, right? But also you will see how many men will start offering you money. Like, by the way, if you put like a Cash App ID, if you have it, or whatever, Venmo, you will see that you'll just fucking start making money. There will be simps who will send you $5 or whatever and say, "Hey, beautiful, this is just for your morning cup of coffee so you can start a day right," right? I mean, I actually thought about making money this way. Like, forget about, just create 100 dating accounts, like figure out all the IPs and stuff like that. Put pictures of hot girls that I generated in AI and put a Cash App, and I think I will be pretty good with an income, right? Because there's a bunch of guys who will start the conversation by handing money over to a girl. And some guys, will offer money for a girl, like as she's a hooker, which most Western women are, one way or another, right? Um, and I even see it here. Thai girls show me, messages from guys who are like, as a hello, would offer them like thousands of dollars to spend, a week with them, as a hooker, essentially, right? So just do that. Just post this fake profile, and you will see what your competition is. And if you are as men with any self-respect and standards, you will understand that competing with simps on dating apps is really, really tough, if it's not impossible, right? There are ways, and I'll get to that, but let's just hear him out.
So obviously we're doing something wrong.
Well, that's the thing. Are you doing something wrong? I mean, general answer is no, right? You put together a profile, put some pictures in, you're trying to contact a girl, you have good intentions, you're not trying to rob her, you're not trying to, but the problem is you're not doing a lot of things right. Like, again, are you doing something wrong that you're staying in America or Great Britain or whatever and trying to date? Well, I mean, yeah, I would argue yes, but it's a really tough thing to argue, right? Because he might have a job that in the career that he's had for many years where he has to go into the office, right? He might have an aging, mother or parents who need some help, and so there are reasons, right? Why a lot of these men are still sticking around in America and Great Britain and so forth. But a lot of them don't know that it's even possible. So it's not so much what are you doing wrong, but it's just there are a lot of things that these men are just not doing right. Um, the Rock continues to say, for those who already know Thai, I don't know yet, and aren't fat losers, which is better option, Thai Cupid or Thai Friendly? Um, I haven't used Thai Cupid in a while. And like I said, I maybe log in once a day only on Thai Friendly. I'd say why not try both, right? Just make sure when you create the account, or like if you created the account in America, they'll charge you much more, right? Just make sure that if you have that account, just create a new account, because that account here is going to cost you like 100 200 baht, which is like $6 7 a month. So I would just try both. The only thing is, don't get too fucking involved into it. And I'll tell you how to create the profile and what a lot of people are doing wrong. Like I've already told you, right? If you're going to communicate with a girl, yes, here in Thailand, you can get away with hi, how are you? Because that's something that they're probably going to have to translate in Thai. And that's already a challenge, right? So you don't want to say something they're like, oh, I don't understand. I'm going to back myself away because I'm not good enough for this foreigner because I don't speak enough English, right? Um, but, not being a fat loser is also a big plus. But in America, and in other countries where you are competing with a lot of guys, your first message, if it's even going to be seen, right, because it's your first message and your profile picture, it needs to be something that the girl hasn't seen in a while, right? um, like she will say something that, it's always good to travel together, right? And you'll be like, you sure you want to go travel together? Like, just challenge something that they say in their profile, right? I don't care what it is. Like, yeah, I guess it's traveling together is better. I actually suggest not for a man, because you're spending twice as much money, and now you have to consider where she wants to go. It's too hard to walk in heels here. I'm too hungry. I'm too tired. Like I was just in Egypt checking out the pyramids, right? It's fucking hot in there, and you had to walk a lot, right? Even camels were like, dude, this is fucking hot. Imagine going there with a girl, right, and whining about how hot it's just not it. My trip to the pyramids would be ruined if I had a girl with me, and I know it. So I've seen a lot of other men who's had their trips ruined by a girl just because she couldn't keep up, or was whining too much, or needed whatever. So yeah, use both here. And like I said, even if you're in America, whatever, use dating apps in, I'm a little out of touch, so use dating apps that are a little bit more niche. If there's a dating app for people over 40, for example, and you're over 40, well, use that. If you're into maybe I don't know, fucking hiking or some sort of a sports, right? And there's an app for people specifically for that. Yes, there's a lot of kink apps also, right? If you're into any kink, that's not a bad way to start. So the other app that I use here is actually called Field, which is available in America. I don't mind finding a girl strictly for like a kinky, sexual experience, as to build the relationship on top of, right? To me, that's honestly the only way to do it, because I need a girl to be on the same page sexually. I need her to be, a little freaky. I need her to be a lot of things sexually. Otherwise, I don't care how pretty she is. I don't care how submissive she is. If she's not into, if she cannot provide a great sex life, I don't want it. I really don't want it. So that's so you know what I mean? I bet a lot of you are thinking, hearing about this strategy, specifically this app Field, for the first time, right? Because you never thought about it. There are girls who are also looking for relationships on the Field app, right? As a matter of fact, I've met a few who didn't even know that Field is for just like, it's a kink app. Oh, my friend was using it. I thought I would try too. Oh, right. You didn't know that you're also. Oh no, I didn't know this. So check that out. Like the strategy has to be different than what everybody else is doing. It's kind of like running a business, right? If you're going to build a coffee shop, there will be a Starbucks and whatever, Pete's, right? If you're in America, within the walking distance. How are you going to compete with them, right? Well, for example, if you make a cat cafe or a rabbit cafe, right, we have here, all of a sudden Starbucks cannot compete with you in your neighborhood, because if you are serving coffee or hot chocolate or tea that may not be as great as Starbucks, though it should be since you're like privately owned, you know, they cannot compete with the fact that a cat will be sleeping on someone's lap as they're working, on their laptop or having their cup of coffee, right? You have to do something different. And using different dating apps, which is not Bumble and Tinder, is one of the ways how to compete. Your first message, again, challenge something in her profile or in her picture, right? You can literally, sometimes I would say the girl will have like a long list of requirements, and just for shits and giggles, I would be like, huh, It's funny. I'm actually managed to satisfy every single thing in that list, but I'm starting to wonder, before I offer it to you, what do you have to offer, right? And don't get me wrong, that doesn't go like very well many times, but when it does, trust me, you have just won over 99% of other people saying, like this guy, hi, how are you doing, darling? You know what I mean? You have to compete. A lot of you guys do not compete because if you don't compete on dating apps, you guys also don't know how to compete in real life, right? When you approach a girl, the way you do it, where you do it, a lot of times you guys don't compete because you're just doing the same thing that other guys are doing, and that ain't impressive, right? All right, let's keep going.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah. He's hitting all the right spot. He's not the only one. He's not the only one who's frustrated with dating apps. He's not the only one who's not competing on dating apps, but he's definitely not the only one who's frustrated with the dating scene in America or in Great Britain and in Europe. And like I said, you can navigate it somewhat, but I propose to you that the only solution, the fastest and honestly even the easiest solution, is what I outline right here at themillionmanproject.com. You can go and see how detailed my list is to basically get the fuck out of America, Great Britain, and create not only a million times better dating life in the country of your choice. And I talk about how to choose the right country. Thailand is the right country for me, but it could be something different for you. And you will also change your life in so many ways in a positive way. It's so much more affordable here. The people are so much more polite. The healthcare here is so much better and yet cheaper. The food here is amazing, sourced much better. There's pretty much no crime. I mean, just forget about women. By the way, just being away from your women, the Western women, is already a treat. But then all of these lists of things that you guys never thought your life could be. You know what I mean? That's why. So let me give myself a real quick plug so you know kind of what I'm talking about here. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life. Yeah, yeah, I'm not kidding. It changed my life. I've already had a good life, and my life is now at the level where I never even imagined it would be. I didn't even think that some of the things that I live here through are possible. Or I thought, well, that was 20 years ago. That's never going to come back. Guess what? You can back time, very respectful. That's still very kind. The women who are still submissive and soft-spoken. Don't get me wrong. There are many challenges here, and I talk about it all the time on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe. But it is just a fucking paradise just when it comes to women. So he's right. He's on my left, but he's right. He's not alone. He's not alone.
Well, I hope I'm not the only one. And then you might get a conversation with someone. You think it's going well, looks good. You go back the next day to send another wee message. Conversation's been deleted.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, the most common outcome of your connection with any woman on a dating app or in person is going to be ghosting one way or another. That is what the reality is. Even here, it's still quite high and it's going higher and higher and higher. Um, so when you start talking to a girl, this is why you should not absolutely get your hopes up. Uh, the most common outcome is that she'll either ghost you just on messaging, whether you connected on dating app or in person, doesn't even matter anymore. She'll just ghost you. Um, because women are no longer wired like, oh, I met a good man, he's pretty rare, let me explore this. They'll be like, yet another dude trying to talk to me, but I think I can do better, right? So that's the new mentality. So it's either ghosting or essentially standing you up on the first date or even sometimes second date, or running late to a point where you should leave. Yesterday I had a date with a Cambodian girl, okay, who doesn't speak any English whatsoever. I already had one date with her, first date. So this was a second date, still 45 minutes late. Now, don't get me wrong, it is Bangkok, and usually give a little bit more slack here than in America. But 45 minutes, and she was riding a motorbike. The motorbikes are not as uh, sort of delayed by traffic because they just go between the cars, and you usually know exactly how much time it's going to take. So she just decided to be late, and I waited for 15 minutes, maybe even 20, right? Because she did kind of kept me updated a little bit. I know she was on the motorbike and it was raining, so it was tough to her to maybe whip out her phone. But at the end of the day, after 15 minutes, I told her, "Don't worry, I'm just you can go, you can turn around and go home." She ended up reaching and coming to the place in 45 minutes late, and I said, she's like, "Really? But I dressed up for you, and I was in under the rain for 1 hour. None of that worked on me. I got balls. Unlike a lot of you, I have balls." I said, "Nope, I'm sorry. You do understand how disrespectful it is for you to think that I'm going to sit here like a bitch and wait for you for 45 minutes. I'm a 48-year-old man, and you, what is she, a 31-year-old female. How the fuck do you think that I'm going to wait for you? Go home, back to the streets. Maybe you're lucky enough that a good guy, especially a foreigner, will ask you out again, but for me, no." And don't get me wrong, even that experience wasn't that bad because she did apologize and she was very sweet about it. And she sent a picture. "This is what I put on for you," and all that stuff. Now, it still didn't work on me, but a Western woman will gaslight you, right? "No, I didn't want you anyway. You're trash. You probably didn't want to pay for my dinner, whatever. I'm busy. You don't respect an independent women," all that fucking bullshit that you guys have to put up with. And also, the reason that this didn't bother me, there are two reasons why it didn't bother me when this happened here. One, I was on a date with another girl within 2 hours and got laid. Okay. So there's so many options here that the girl who's running late is so easily replaced all the way to absolutely guaranteed sex that you don't have to wait for her. A lot of you have to wait for a girl because you have no other choices. When you come here, you fucking have choices. I'm telling you, this is a real life story from the last 24 hours. The girl was late. I said, "I don't want to see her anymore because she's not respecting my time." Within 2 hours, girl in my bedroom. I'm literally pointing to the bed. Okay. That is normal here. That is normal here. So, number one, the reason I could behave this way is because, well, I have self respect, I have standards, but I also have choices. And number two, I invited her to come to the place where I was going to anyway. There was a sushi boat place that I like. That's where I invited her. As soon as she was 15 minutes late, I ordered my dinner. I finished my dinner by the time she got there, and I went home after that. Wow, to meet the girl, the second one, right? So I did not skip a beat. That was the restaurant that I was going to anyway by myself, no matter what. The only thing is, the meal was 50% off because I didn't have to pay for the girl, right? So this is the shit that you guys just don't have to have, just don't have there. So this is why. But being stood up one way or another, and obviously a lot of girls just don't show up to the date, they don't even tell you about it or whatever. This is why you should always have the first date at a coffee shop that's across the street from you. That's what I do. Okay, because when they don't show up, I can either go home, but most of the time, honestly, I mean, I got as bold as I always bring my laptop with me. So if they don't show up, then I just do what I would do anyway, and get some work done, make some extra money. And if she does show up, you essentially, I mean, the laptop is not really on the way, but she gets to see you that you kind of one of those digital nomads with a laptop at the coffee shop and all that cool stuff, right? But also, you can just send that laptop back to your condo by a messenger. That because it is the life here is so convenient. Like you're like, "Oh, I have too much stuff with me. No problem. Here you go. For $1, this will be delivered to my room." Like the life is so good here, guys. So yes, but just in real life or in dating apps, doesn't matter. You have to be prepared that you're going to be stood up, and you're going to be disrespected. Your time is going to be disrespected. The girl's going to be running late, or most of the time you're going to be ghosted. This is why you should always have several conversations going on at the same time. And if you're not getting them from dating apps, start approaching women. Especially in America, it's much more, it's no problem being approached. Right here, cold approaches are not as appropriate, so you kind of have to really be careful. But cold approach the fuck out of women in America if you're already in America, right? uh let's see. Now, Rock does not agree with me. He says dating apps don't exactly reflect reality. For starters, single mothers, fat women don't receive attention in the streets, only apps. Bots don't exist in the streets. Okay, yeah, well, bots are honestly, it's very, very easy to figure out, right? Now, what also doesn't exist on the streets are hookers, right? There's a lot of girls who are just hookers, and girls trying to get a following on Instagram, and girls who are trying to get OnlyFans followings, right? So there's a lot of things don't exist on the street versus bots. So essentially, the amount of junk that you have to avoid is the same. It's just different junk, right? So that's just to address to that. Single mothers, absolutely, they're everywhere. It's not like single mothers are only in dating apps. Single mothers are everywhere. So you just have to avoid it. A lot of times they won't tell you on the dating apps that they're single mothers. You have to kind of ask them, in a conversation. And you can't do it right away, because if she's not a single mother, she'll just kind of get offended that you're fishing a little too harsh, right? Okay, fat women. Fat women get plenty of attention in real life also, just as on dating apps. It's just like you're fooling yourself if you think that ugly women are no longer getting attention in person. Guys are much more desperate. The standards, the visual standards fall, and they're getting plenty of attention. Plenty of attention. These three things are probably about 50% of user base in apps amongst women. Yeah, but you have to understand here, 50% of users are what we call freelancers, hookers, right? Actually, a lot of times more. Like the dating apps that we talked about, right, just now, TyCupid and TyFriendly. If you see a pretty girl, right, to your eye, to your foreigner eye, 50% chance she's a freelancer or hooker or gold digger of some sort, meaning she just wants money from you for her times, her services, her company. So you always have to deal with trash, just like when you're looking for friends or for good restaurants or for good doctors. There's always going to be trash that you have to filter out. The trash, the percentage of trash that you see in person when you approach, and the amount of trash that you see on dating apps is pretty much equal. I'm talking about girls when you connect, right? Because it used to be like, if you connect on dating apps, the connection maybe not as strong, right? Because she can easily go, she has other choices. But when you met somebody in person, you kind of had a tiny little first date already. She knows what you actually look like. She knows what you sound like. She knows that you don't smell, or maybe you do smell, right? There's a lot of things that you've already kind of gotten to where you can't online, right? When you meet somebody in person and have a bit of a conversation with them. So that used to be a bigger deal, but it doesn't fucking matter to them anymore. Western women will have a nice conversation with you, and so do some Thai women, and will absolutely fucking ghost you afterwards because some other dude came up to them 10 minutes later, right? Or 10 minutes before you. So, and she just compared and decided that that guy maybe had a bigger tattoo or bigger muscles or taller, or had a keychain with a Mercedes Benz thing on it. Like, all the wrong choices that Western women make for themselves, you will lose just to that, right? Makes sense? Hopefully makes sense. You see how this 1 minute video keeps on giving here? I love it. God, I wish I could have this guy to just interview him.
Messages have been deleted. Her profile has been
Well,
deleted.
her profile is not deleted. She just blocked you.
And even I know that's a bad sign. Even I can take that as a hint. So clearly, the communication skills aren't good.
Well, so communication skills are great if you give them the money, right? Women are really excellent, especially Western women, when you give them money. They are on time, communication skills are great, the responses are right away. Hookers provide better service now than real women. Case in point, I go to the street here, it's called Soy 11, okay? This is where a lot of hookers walk by, but also a lot of tourists, right? And I said, if you want to people watch, if you like to people watch as much as I do, and there's this restaurant that serves breakfast for dinner, Brenner. I love Brenner, right? So, and I say you can sit outside and literally people will pass by and you can people watch. And what I absolutely love doing there is seeing how I'll look at the hooker with her client going to the hotel room, and regular couples, Thai couples, but mainly like Western couples, relatively touristy place, right? And I just count how many of these couples are holding hands and how many of are not. You want to guess who wins? I First of all, hookers are by far the winners. 100% of the time, they're holding hands of their client, right? If you pay a girl, all of a sudden, she'll be this great. So they'll know how to communicate well, how to be sweet, how to reply to you on time, right? They all know. And then there are regular couples. Most of the time, it's just 50%. A lot of couples nowadays don't even bother holding hands. Sometimes they don't even walk side by side. I don't know if it's happening in America or Europe, but here I noticed this with Thai couples and foreign couples from all kinds of countries. They just don't even fucking walk next to each other. There will be, because sometimes I'll smile to a girl, a single girl walking around, great, I'll smile at her. And then like 5 seconds later, her husband or her boyfriend's going behind her. Why the fuck are you in a relationship if you guys don't even want to walk together, much less like hold hands? What the fuck is going on? So hookers, when women getting paid, all of a sudden they absolutely know how to behave. So don't say that, oh, the communication skills aren't good. They just don't give a fuck, right? If the communication skills are not being used, then you should know that they're not interested, right? Your communication skills probably not that great because you start the conversation exactly the same as other 100 dudes in that day started. So you got to work on your communication skills as well, my friend.
What should we be saying? What would you like me to say to you? Tell us what should be said. Come on. I'm speaking for all the men here. We need a bit of help. Give us a clue.
All right. That's the end of the video. He started it with by begging and he ended it by begging. Again, not a good look, but he's right. A lot of guys have this question, right? A lot of guys basically saying, what should we be doing? All right. Number one, and like I said, I know for a lot of you guys, if you think like, oh my God, like you can consider getting the fuck out of there. Consider moving out of the country where you're at. If you really care about your sex life, your personal life, getting married, having kids, it's just not going to happen. More unlikely to happen in the country of where you live. It's a Western country. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, as I already mentioned, your communication needs to be better. Don't, like I said, create a profile yourself as a girl and then see what the most common messages you're going to be getting. You need to be the opposite of that. Saying, hey, how are you doing? Again, I have a luxury of doing that here, okay? Because I'm a hot commodity here. So are you if you get here, right? But you're in shit there in Great Britain or America, okay? So you have to your first message, even if she's even going to get to it, has to really stand out. So hi, how are you? Whatever, all that stuff, or you're so beautiful, so pretty. Like, spare me, okay? This is not going to get you anywhere. So you need to comment on her picture or what's in her profile if she even fucking remembers what she wrote, and challenge it in one way or another, like almost like you're in the middle of a conversation with her, and if you were friends, right? Literally, it's like, hey, what's up with that? You know what I mean? It's like, do you always like to be photobombed by whatever, expensive cars, right? So, like, just something where she's like, oh, that's an actually interesting question, right? And it's just upping your chances, but it's still. Now, number two, and I don't know, I think bunch of, I'm not a dating coach. Well, I guess I am in some ways, but like actual professional dating coaches have told you many fucking times, the pictures in your profiles, especially your profile picture, needs to be excellent. You first of all, you need to improve yourself. If you're fat, do not get on a dating app. You're wasting your time. Take that 20 or $30 a month that you're spending on 50 on dating apps. Take that and get yourself a fucking gym membership, or some sort of a soccer or hockey or whatever, weekly games, and start losing weight, start dressing better, start getting your facial hair and your hairstyle on point. All of those things you need to improve yourself, because it doesn't matter where you're going to be rejected. If you're a fat guy who doesn't know how to dress, who doesn't know how to get your hair up, like, he's actually is all right. Now, that shirt should never be, you should never have shit written here, okay? Like, it has to be very rarely, it is very on point or something like that, but you should always have a button up shirt. If you're wearing a t-shirt when it's hot, that's fine, but it needs to be a fitting t-shirt that fits your fit body, and showcases your muscles. Okay. And you need to get those if you don't have them. So, the hairstyle is all right. But what he's wearing is not. And this is one of the things how you have to. Now, once you do that, once you improve yourself, you need to start taking professional pictures, hire a photographer, take a professional pictures of yourself. No, the main picture should be like actually like this. Smile for the camera and just your face, because it needs to be attractive. You should like my profile pictures I'm wearing with a suit and a tie. Okay. So if you do that, all of a sudden the girl's like, oh, the man in a suit, right? Everybody else is wearing a t-shirt, right? Maybe a shirt. A lot of them are white beater. Compete on the fucking clothes. It's not that hard. Put yourself in a suit for the picture. You're gonna stand out. Professional pictures. Don't do the fucking fish, you fucking idiots. Don't do that. Don't do vibe beater in the gym, pictures in the gym. Listen, if you're a fit guy, she knows you go to the gym. Okay. You do not want to come across as a fucking gym bro. So do create picture, have pictures taken at your favorite restaurant, whatever hobby that you have, showcase that, right? Even if it's soccer, then a picture of you playing soccer, right? Travel. If you've traveled, picture somewhere else. I mean, obviously, probably something you already have, so maybe it cannot be a professional photographer, but let her know that you're worldly, right? 4 or 5 pictures where you showcase who you are, you being active. And a profile picture needs to be good. Have your female friends review it. Have a actual professional photographer, because when a girl gets a message, she essentially sees the message, right? Again, it has to be bold, and your main profile picture, and it needs to be good. A lot of you guys, and I'll be happy to review them. Like maybe that's one of the things that I need to do, is to review your dating profiles. I guarantee you they're trash. I guarantee you this guy's dating app picture and profile are trash. And then you might have a chance. Like I said, you'll still have very little chance. Don't waste your time with women who are not like communicating. If a girl takes a day to reply, or the reply is really short and they don't ask any questions, just unmatch her. This shouldn't. Trust me, it's not going anywhere. Trust me, you're just wasting your time. You're better off using that time, maybe trying to match with, swipe through 20 other profiles, maybe get a better girl, or approach a girl at the coffee shop if you're sitting there already. You're much better off doing that than trying to talk to a girl that's obviously not interested. The Rock says reality contains only about 25% single mothers and fed women with no bots whatsoever, compared to 50% of mixture of bots, single mothers, and fed women and apps. So the reality is still a little different. Okay. I don't understand why you think there are more single mothers on dating apps than in real world. I don't get that part at all. Single mothers are everywhere, whether on dating apps or they're in the real world. So I don't really understand how there would be more or less of them on dating apps. Same amount of fat women, honestly. Like in reality, is I genuinely don't understand. But I gotta tell you, if you are, listen, here's the thing. I'm definitely not gonna stand on your way. Uh, um, if you only date in real world, I think that's the best way to go. I really think it's the best way to go. Like I said, if you want to get on niche dating apps, right, like kink or some sort of activity, right, and really step up your game with the way you talk to women and your pictures, do dating apps, as a side hustle, right? That's fine. But we we agree, that in general, approach women in person. The best way to do it, though, and especially here in Southeast Asia, but even in America and Europe, meet women through friends and family. Okay, those are what real estate agents would call pocket listings, right? Pocket listing, if you don't know, if a real estate agent has a really nice a listing of a condo or a house, but the owner only wants really good offers and really good potential buyers. So the real estate agent is shopping that pocket listing that's in your pocket, just to the clients that real estate agent knows. So it is a much better match. That does happen with single women, especially here, right? Though not on purpose. There will be some girl who's just a quiet, shy girl. She just happened to go to the job where there's not that many men, or doesn't deal with customers. She goes, to the office or the back room, and there's nothing but women there. So there's not many interactions with men. She doesn't want to be on dating apps. She's kind of like over that. And she's kind of goes home, reads a book, maybe goes to a coffee shop and sits, against the wall over there where you cannot even see her anyway, or on the second floor, just with her earbuds, reading a book or whatever. And then she goes home, right? But her friends know that she is a good girl who needs a boyfriend, right? And they are protecting her from all of the bullshit. So if they're your friends, and this happens to me all the time, they go like, oh, especially when people meet me, like, oh, you're single? We have this one girl. She's such a good girl, but she's shy. She's not out and about. Can we put you together, right? Because you seem like a good guy. And that happens all the time. That is the best way to meet women anywhere, specifically here Southeast Asia. But if you can manage it in America and Europe, that is absolutely must do. So I again, I suggest no Tinder, no Bumble. I suggest niche dating apps, right? Also sexual dating apps for sure. I recommend you improving yourself as a man and then getting professional pictures done. And I recommend very bold approach messages on dating apps, which essentially should be how you approach women in reality. Oh, I just wanted to come over here and tell you you're pretty, ain't gonna fucking work. Can I buy you a drink? Another horrible one. You have to, accidentally on purpose by bump into girl and say something like, oh wow, you're on everyone's way today, just something like that. And see, some of these girls are going to have shitty reaction no matter how you approach them, right? Majority of Western women are shitty human beings, and you're just going to have to deal with it, right? But if you were to succeed, it is where you would start a conversation in a way how most men don't, right? Figure out places where more women than men they still exist, because like for example Zumba classes, cycling classes, give yourself a chance. Interact with women who mainly interact with other women. There's not that many men around. Give yourself a better chance. So it is like, for example, for me, because I love black women, right? I moved to Auckland, or I would go to Auckland. So I would go into the lounge or in the club when I was younger or whatever, and I would be like the only white guy there. All of a sudden, yeah, there's a bunch of dudes, right? But if a girl is attracted to a white guy or wants to, flirt with a white guy, I'm the only game in town all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, all of these other guys don't matter to her because she specifically wants to maybe date a white guy. Do that, right? Same thing here in Thailand. Some women really want to date a foreigner for some good reasons and bad reasons sometimes too. I'll tell you what a good reason is in a second. And then again, there's very few foreigners here, even in a place like Bangkok. Well, foreigners who live here permanently, right? And there's tons and tons and tons of single, pretty, skinny Thai women who are submissive and feminine and family oriented. Um, and again, I'm talking about Thailand because I live here, but there are many other countries like Cambodia and Philippines and in Vietnam and many, many others. And of course, South and Latin America with Brazil and Chile, and it's just so many other places. So I'm just speaking generally about, what you can expect here. Now, what are the bad reasons to date a foreigner? But obviously, if a girl wants this social status and money, obviously run away. A lot of expats don't because they don't know any better. Their self-esteem is low. They have no self-respect, and that's the only thing they know anyway. But for example, a good reason is that skin color matters here in many other countries, and people don't hide it. People are not woke and whatever. So a lot of men here in Thailand, I mean, generally speaking, a girl with a darker skin considered to not be as pretty. And some girls go like, well, just so you know, my skin is dark and I'm ugly. Like they will tell you that, right? But guess what? This guy and many foreigners, either like foreigners don't care. I personally love darker skin. And women know that. Some darker skinned women here know that, Thai men think that they're not good looking. But the foreigners either don't care or specifically like dark skin, and that's why they want to date a foreigner. Actually, a great way. So they know that the number of men who find them attractive is small, and they are not going after foreigners for the wrong reasons, like the money and the status. So that is a good, acceptable way why a local girl would date a foreigner. So, listen, guys, things are not going to get any easier. You have to put in more work. Put more work into your, app, dating app profile. Get on the different dating apps. Absolutely do 80% of your hunting in person, and I have videos about that as well. But most importantly, I think you should move here. I think there's the only fucking choice is to move here. So again, go to the millionmanproject.com. You can see the plan that I've outlined, the most comprehensive plan for anybody to move countries in general. But other than that, improve yourself, improve your dating profile, and improve the places and dating apps that you're using in order to meet women. All right, I will. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will be here tomorrow at the same time, which is noon here in Bangkok, but it's 10 p.m. in California. So figure it out, and I think it's still early evening in Europe. So I will see you tomorrow, same place, same time. I will see you guys later. Peace.